Okay, hello, Bride of Christ. I just want to share with you a vision that the Lord gave me. Um, this vision that He gave to me is very, very beautiful, but at the same time, it makes you wonder if we're truly surrendered to Christ the way He wants us to be surrendered to Him. But anyway, let me begin. I went before the Lord in prayer. And as I was in prayer, the Lord gave me this vision. And in the vision, I was in a ballroom. And it was a very beautiful, elegant, regal ballroom. Like the kind you would see inside of a palace. Very beautiful. And as I looked around, I noticed the people there in the ballroom. And they were all dressed. The women were dressed up in beautiful gowns that, ran all the way down to the floor with intricate designs on them. And the men were dressed up in black, beautiful tuxedos. And they all looked so picture perfect. And I was looking at them and I felt like I almost paled in comparison to how beautiful they were. And then I was looking and I noticed that down the center of the ballroom was a purple carpet. And this carpet ran right through the middle of the two groups. There was a group on the left-hand side of this carpet, and there was a group on the right-hand side. And this carpet ran right in the middle, and it began right at the entrance of the ballroom. And I noticed these windows that encircled the ballroom, and then these doors made out of windows, and they were open. They were the entrance to the ballroom, and they were open so that people can come inside the ballroom. And so I noticed that there was a group to my left, and there was a group to my right, and going down the center of this purple carpet, if you went all the way down the center to the end of the other side of the ballroom, there was a little hallway that led to a mini balcony. And so I was looking at the individuals there, and I noticed that they were very riveted by the event, very jovial, and they were entertaining each other in chatter. The whole room boomed with the voices of the individual guests conversating one with the other. And as I looked around, I knew that the procession was about to begin and that the king was going to make his entrance. And I got super excited. And at that moment, I heard a loud trumpet blast that blared through the whole of the ballroom. And a man announced in a mighty voice that the king was ready to enter. And I could not wait to see him, let alone talk with him and walk with him. I was super excited. And I was sure that the whole of the auditorium would be drawn to attention and super excited, just like I was, and the conversations would cease. But to my bewilderment, when I looked around at everybody else, they were still talking. And their chatter only became louder. It was like they had not heard that the trumpets had just blared and that there was a mighty voice that made the announcement that the king was here. He was ready to enter. It was like it just flew right past them. And I was surprised that they were talking so loudly and that they, were not ready to meet the king. They were still talking. And I could not believe that this was happening. I was thinking this was the king, the king of all kings, Lord of all lords, Jesus Christ. How could these people miss the entrance of the king? So the king began to enter, and I was overwhelmed with joy. I wanted to be with him. My eyes were glued to his presence. Regardless of the bustling of the room, even though it did not cease, and no one seemed to notice that Jesus had already entered and that he was there, he simply walked right down the aisle. He walked up to me, and he took my hand and he asked if I would be willing to walk with him. And I was utterly speechless. I'm like, okay, of course. Are you kidding me? And of course I said yes. And so he took my hand and we began to walk together down the purple carpet of this ballroom as the people were still engaging themselves in conversations, laughing, talking, not even aware that this was taking place. And we came to the end of the ballroom and we walked down the mini hallway to the balcony. And I looked at the Lord. And at that point, my heart just broke. Because absolutely no one in the entire ballroom seemed to realize what had just transpired. They had missed it. They had missed Jesus coming. They had missed everything, and my heart broke. They had missed the main event that they actually came to the palace for. They missed it completely. And so as we stood on the balcony, I began to ask the Lord why these people could not see what had just taken place. And my heart was very, very, very saddened and very anguished, because they were missing something so wonderful, to be in the presence of the King, to be in the presence of Jesus, and they were missing it. And so the Lord began to speak to me. And this is what he said. He said, "My daughter, most of these people have other priorities, other lovers, other interests. Many of them love themselves and their wealth far more than they could ever love me. Even though they came here to meet me, their lives are so filled with distractions that they are unaware that I am even among them." And after he had finished saying that, my heart immediately broke, and I became really upset and really sad. And I said to the Lord, "Lord, I feel as though I'm going to cry. I'm very sad, because I want to see, I want them to see you. I want these people to know you." And the Lord looked at me and he said, "Now you know the sadness of my heart." And then the Lord began to speak again. And then I said, "Lord, well, could you go back out again, and maybe the trumpets this time can be blown louder and the announcements made stronger, and then they would hear and they would see you and they would come to you." And so the Lord responded again, and this is what he said. He said, "It is of little use, daughter, even if I would go back and come in again and again. They still could not hear. Their hearts have been too dulled by the cares and concerns of this temporal world, that they neither have eyes to see nor ears to hear. They are blind to me and my kingdom, because they do not believe in the reality of my word. They choose to believe parts of my word, but not all of it. Although I have sent them my messengers to warn them and to wake them up, they only scoff and ridicule those I send. Although I have sent them my spirit to speak to their hearts, showing them their blindness, they dismiss my warnings and do not want to hear my voice. So now, daughter, I can only watch from a distance and weep. For as a hen gathers her chicks, so I wanted to gather this backslidden church. Just as I wept for Jerusalem, so I weep now." And this is the Lord brought Matthew 28:37-38 to my remembrance at that point. And then he continued, and he said, "Pray, daughter, for my heart yearns that they should know me. And I ordain you with this task to intercede on behalf of those who do not comprehend the truth of my reality and do not know who I am." And then that's where the vision ended. So this was the vision that the Lord gave me. I pray that we may all come to know him, in the reality of who he is. He is real, he is in heaven, and he speaks to us through the Spirit. And he loves us, and he wants us to commune with him daily at his table and his word. He wants us to give ourselves to him, to his calling, and he loves each and every one of us, and he doesn't want anyone to perish, not one person. We are all precious to him. There is no person on the earth that is not precious to him. Yet he gave us all a choice. And the Lord is saying that we must open up our eyes and our ears and understand the truth of his word. And we cannot go halfway with the Lord. We must be completely devoted to him. And so I pray that this will bless you, and thank you. Thank you for listening. May Jesus bless you, and peace unto you.